Hi, Mark here. It is Monday, July the 27th, 9:42 a.m. Eastern, well into the US session. Let's have a look how the US dollar is performing this morning. There you see green candlestick, continuation of the strong uptrend from last week. To start the week, there was a gap lower, closed last week at 101.29 and then opened the new week lower at 101.08. Above that 101 level, even tested lower, but you can see buyers have stepped in, continuation of the uptrend that we saw last week. Buyers testing this 101.27 resistance. We'll see whether US dollar strength continues through the US session, or if we get a turnaround from strong to weak US dollar and sellers do step in. But for now, certainly testing the resistance on the index. Let's have a look at the majors. Starting on the Euro US, and there you see 4 hour support being tested right now. I've got resistance at 114.17 and I've got support at 113.76. Downtrend certainly in place. Sellers looking to extend the losses from last week, looking down at the 113.63 support. We'll see whether this can be maintained, whether sellers continue, sellers of euro, buyers of US, in other words, US dollar strength, if that can continue or does continue, or if we get a turnaround from strong to weak US dollar and buyers of euro, sellers of US step in and look back up above the 114 level. Let's have a look at the pound against the US. And it's a not dissimilar pattern, pretty much the same downtrend certainly in place, selling pound, buying US, strong US dollar. There you can see EMA's crossed to the downside already a week ago. And for now, support being looked at 132.98, that 133 level. Sitting now at 133.16. We'll see whether dollar strength continues and sellers can look down to the support level, or a turnaround from strong to weak US dollar and buyers step in. That would be buying pound, selling US, and look back up at the resistance at 133.63. US dollar against the yen. And again, we're seeing strong US dollar. We've had really strong US dollar against a weak yen, strong uptrend. End of last week, got stuck at this level, 163.82, testing the 164. And to start today, gap lower to start, but you can see fighting its way back again. I've got support. That's 4 hour support at 163.32, and I've got 4 hour resistance being tested right now at 163.70. We'll see whether that continues. Strong US dollar like we're seeing on the index against the European majors, and whether buyers get back up to that test, that 164 level, or turn around from strong to weak US dollar and sellers step in and look back down at that support at 163.32. US dollar against the Canadian, sitting in a narrow range since the middle of last week. Tight range here, you can see that. And US dollar on the front foot. I've got support at 140.70. That's the 4 hour support, has been tested end of last week and again today. Sellers unable to break below. That would be selling US, buying Canadian. US dollar buyers stepped in like you saw in the other majors and established intraday resistance right now at 141.12. Tough level. You can see buyers haven't been able to break above through last week, and so far today we'll see whether demand for US dollar carries through to the US Canadian pair and buyers can get above, comfortably above this 141 level, or if sellers step in and selling US, buying Canadian, and we see price activity continue to be constrained within this narrow range that we see. But certainly strong US dollar for now that the US session has got underway. We've got our relevant resistance and support levels to work with all being tested. Good trading. I'll see you at the end of the day.